Do teenagers have to tell you they're seeking mental health help? So this question came up because there was this big question that came from Cerebral. So Cerebral is a company where they do telehealth like throughout the country. They have therapists and psychiatrists and nurse practitioners and physician assistants like sprinkled everywhere. And they see folks through a virtual platform like this. And so there was a notice, there was a big news cycle where unfortunately there was a kid who died by suicide, and I think he was 17. And if you read the article, which I don't recommend because, again, I want y'all to always include things in your life that are bringing you joy and that are uplifting. This particular article is very kind of nuanced and complicated, and it'll just give you a headache if you're not in the mental health realm, because the answer to that question is very complicated. Yes. Can some kids who are less than 18 seek mental health help without their parents' permission or knowledge? Yes, it depends on the state. I think in this particular case, the state said the state where he was in did not allow it. I think it was Missouri. Same thing in Texas. Technically, I don't think, and I'd have to go back and check, but I don't think that teenagers can under a certain age. I think 17-year-olds can. It becomes like a gray zone. And there are different ages for different states. So like I trained in Kentucky where we were able to do, I think that as low as 16, but I don't think 16 flies in Texas. I think it's 17. But even then, it's like certain things that you can and cannot do. And also, if there's ever a risk of self-harm, the rules of disclosing that. So number one, as a doctor, we're always supposed to make sure that we keep our patients safe. And so in general, we can sometimes bend or break that confidentiality to keep the person safe. But there are rules about that as well, depending on what state you're in. And so that's one of the reasons why I was like, oh, this article is not really helping in the grand scheme of things, because the conversation is so nuanced. And one of the things they mentioned in the nuanced conversation is oftentimes apps and things like that will make you either take a picture of your ID, or they'll make you do that little rolly thing where you put your date of birth and stuff. And so it says, are you 18? And if you bypass that hard wall, then you can get access. And so there's questions about if that person did that or not. And so that's why it's like super complicated. So all I'm going to tell y'all is that one of my main goals in my career is to make sure that we have a society where everybody feels like they can get help regardless of what age they are, so that then it's not so taboo and so hidden. Because I would prefer, and I think most doctors and therapists would prefer, that if there's a teenager having a hiccup, that they can comfortably talk to their parents and have their parents refer them over to get help, because that just makes most teenagers and kids do best in a supportive environment. And we want to coach and support the caregivers so that then the kid feels supported, because that's literally part of the treatment plan, y'all. So the answer to that particular question is very nuanced. Do teenagers have to tell you? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Check the law of your state. More importantly, just talk to whoever your team is, your pediatrician, your family doctor, your therapist themselves, because they will know what the situation is.